Well, the bad news is the Packers missed out on Everson Griffen, and George Kittle signed a 5-year extension with the 49ers, which will have him continually haunt the Packers' dreams and reality. I thought if I said it kind of like a positive, it would sound better. But it wasn't. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to another episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom Kittle down the middle of my soul, Grossi, and today we're going to be talking about Everson Griffen signing with the Cowboys, George Kittle getting a 5-year extension, making him the highest paid tight end in NFL history. Oh, and Travis Kelce got paid too. Before we get to that, I want to do a big shout and thank you to 2 brand new patrons over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy. First, we got Benson Fong, and we got Lieutenant Amazil's new marketing strategy. Good luck. And thank you both for the support. It is much appreciated. Starting off with the Everson Griffen story. So obviously there were rumors out there a few weeks ago that the Green Bay Packers were interested and that Everson Griffen was interested, and we did a whole video on it with the caveat that this might just be a marketing ploy by the agent to try to drum up some interest and raise the value for Everson Griffen. So basically he would get a fatter contract. Then it came out that the Seahawks were interested in signing Everson Griffen as well as Clay Matthews. And so it seemed to be a battle between the Seattle Seahawks and the Minnesota Vikings. And if I was a betting man, I thought he would have gone back to the Vikings, but it seems that the money wasn't there. I mean, he had already spent 10 years there. He went to 4 Pro Bowls with them. He spent his entire career there. But nope, he's going to be shipping out at 32 years old to the Dallas Cowboys and has signed a 1-year, $6 million deal. Now, the reason, of course, that he is no longer with the Vikings is because he was going to be a $12.9 million cap hit this season. And so to save cap, they both parted ways, and plus Griffen met the 2 criteria that he needed in order to opt out of his contract. And now what you have is a pretty darn good defensive line for the Dallas Cowboys. You have DeMarcus Lawrence, you have Gerald McCoy, you have Aldon Smith, and now you have Everson Griffen as well. And of course, Mike McCarthy is very familiar with Everson Griffen, considering he played against him 2 times a year for his entire career. So it seems that the Packers either 1, were never really interested, or 2, were not willing to shell out $6 million for the rusher. And the Seahawks are left empty-handed as well, still looking for their rusher. Will they go after a Clay Matthews, or Jadeveon Clowney is still available? We'll see what they do on that front. But I want to take a second to talk about the Dallas Cowboys, because the Dallas Cowboys, for me, I feel like if this team doesn't make the playoffs and have a deep run into the playoffs, something terribly wrong has occurred. While it's very fun to laugh at the Cowboys and be like, hey, yeah, they'll never actually be good, at this point, there's really no reason for them not to be. McCarthy even got in Joe Philbin to bring in as the offensive line coach. That offensive line is still really good. You have a healthy Zeke coming into this year. You have Dak Prescott, who has all the motivation in the world to play amazingly well, not only because he's a professional, he's going to anyway, but he never got that contract extension this offseason. And of course, they have a ton of weapons with Gallup, Cooper, and of course, CeeDee Lamb. So they have plenty of weapons on the offense. I imagine that their offense is going to be one of the best in the league this year. And their defense has always been lacking a little bit. I'm not saying Everson Griffen is going to solve the world, but you look at their safety position and there is some need there. Having a better pass rush makes your secondary look better. And so we talked about this. I think Everson Griffen, if anything, is consistent. And I think if he provides consistently good play for the Cowboys will be pretty much set for their rushers. So McCarthy coming in, replacing the Clapper, I think has a really, really good chance to take this very, very talented team on a deep run in the playoffs. And then you got George Kittle. George Kittle, there were some rumors coming out last night about the numbers that he was going to sign for. It was confirmed today. So he is signing a 5-year, $75 million contract with the 49ers, shattering the tight end record for a contract. He is now the highest paid tight end in NFL history. Austin Hooper, who just signed this offseason with the Browns, was a 4-year, $42 million. And so what it looks like is he's going to get $30 million guaranteed at signing. There's a $40 million injury guarantee and $18 million in a signing bonus. And something to mention, George Kittle, he showed up for a training camp. He never threatened to hold out or anything like that, and he got rewarded for it. And the guy is an absolute stud, and it makes sense for him to be paid as a wide receiver more than a tight end. The guy was a 5th rounder in the 2017 draft, and in those 3 years, he has nearly 3,000 receiving yards, over 200 receptions, 12 touchdowns, in 37 starts. The guy is phenomenal, and not only is he a threat in the receiving game, but he's a phenomenal blocker and arguably the best blocking tight end in the league. He's a 2-time Pro Bowler, a first-team All-Pro, and he's only turning 27 in October. So basically, the 49ers have locked him down for the prime of his career. He'll be an unrestricted free agent in 2026 when he is 32 years old. And considering that Kittle is such an integral part of that offense, it makes sense that they're going to be paying this guy roughly $15 million a year. He helps the running game, he helps the passing game. All around, he's a game changer when he's on the field. Trust me, I know he's hurt us many times. And if the 49ers are going to be successful, I think George Kittle is going to be a major reason why they are going to do well. Now, the other news that just broke as soon as I was done editing this video and had to go back and record was that Travis Kelce, also getting paid today, signed a 4-year, $57 million extension with the Kansas City Chiefs, which will keep him in Kansas City for the next 6 seasons. Now, Kelce's going to be turning 31 in October, and he had 2 years left on his current deal. He's averaging about $14.25 million in new money compared to George Kittle, who's averaging $15 million in new money. And this is another one of those circumstances which it's completely and totally deserved. Kelce has been to 5 straight Pro Bowls. He's had over 1,000 yards in each of the last 4 seasons, and in those 4 seasons, he's had a total of 27 touchdowns. The former 3rd rounder from the 2013 NFL Draft will be an unrestricted free agent in 2026 when he is 36 years old. So basically, this just guarantees that Travis Kelce is going to finish his career where he started in Kansas City. And while, again, this is completely deserved, I do have one aching question is, where did they get this money? Where's the money coming from? It's just falling out the sky? Do they got money growing trees in Kansas City? Because let's just talk about this. First, you gave Patrick Mahomes $1 kajillion. I know it was a little bit less than that, but it's basically $1 kajillion. Then you gave Chris Jones $85 million, and now you're giving Travis freaking fracking Kelce $57 million. So I just want to know, when did Jeff Bezos buy the Kansas City Chiefs? Did it happen overnight? Didn't hear any news about it. That bald-headed bastard just throwing money around. This is why I don't pay for Amazon Prime. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. How do you feel about Everson Griffen signing with the Cowboys? Was Kittle overpaid, underpaid? And what do you feel about Kelce's contract? In my opinion, I feel that both of these contracts are warranted because both of them are very, very important cogs in their respective offenses. Again, I'm just jealous that the Kansas City Chiefs apparently have all the money in the world. Maybe it's like Animal Crossing, like when you hit the money rock every day. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or at TomGrossiComedy on all social media, see down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all the patrons over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and the YouTube members. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.